This is actually yet another painting that I did several weeks ago, and I'm just now getting around to editing and posting the video for it. But after doing my last ink painting, I had a lot of momentum to keep going with them, so I decided to do this piece of Xiangling and Keqing from Genshin. This was like just after the Moonlight Merriment event ended, which was very focused on these two characters specifically, and I really liked their dynamic throughout the entire event, and it was just really cute, so I really wanted to paint them together and also include Goba because he was a very important part of that event. So that is why I decided to do this painting. I'm also doing this piece on extra fancy watercolor paper as I picked up a pad of the Arches cold press paper recently. I've always wanted to get my hands on it. It's just a very expensive pad of paper. It's always been the one that whenever I would go to Michael's, especially when I was like pretty deep into watercolors when I first started getting into it, I always wanted to try this paper. It was just like so expensive, which is valid because it's cotton paper and it is really nice paper at that, but I just never got around to it. And then a little while back, one of my mutuals on Instagram sent me a bunch of sample sheets of different assortment of watercolor papers, which was so nice, and I'm working my way through those, and I did one piece on the Arches paper and I absolutely loved it. So a local art supply store that I've mentioned I recently discovered and I have fallen in love with because they have so much stuff and they have such nice prices, which is something that I especially didn't expect from a local art supply store. I expected them to be like overpriced. Like when I drove by them and discovered them, and then Steven and I went there, I was like, I'm probably not gonna buy anything. Everything's probably like pretty expensive and I just want to look and see what they have, but they actually have really good prices. They're like constantly doing sales on literally everything in the store, so it generally is below like the normal retail price, which is so insanely amazing. It's so nice. So I've been really enjoying shopping there. But I picked up a pad of the Arches paper. I don't remember how much it was. I want to say it was around like $20 for the pad. They were doing like a big annual sale, so I'm pretty sure I got it for a little bit cheaper, probably around like $15 to $18 for the pad. That could be really far off. I bought this probably like a month or two ago and I could be remembering this like completely wrong, but I really wanted to try the paper, so I decided to splurge and pick some up, and I've been really enjoying working with this paper. I've only used this full sheet and about half a sheet in total, but it has such a nice texture and I really like the way the color lays down. I know that the Arches paper is pretty praised overall by like most people who use it. From what I've seen, I've just seen so much praise of it. I have seen one person who dislikes it, but personally, in my experience so far, I've really enjoyed working with this paper. I also did get a couple of comments on my last video of people asking if my previous piece was going to be a print, and I assume some people will be curious about this one as well, and yes, these will both be prints, both my Genshin pieces. I've actually done like a good amount of Genshin pieces that I will eventually turn into prints. However, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm actually going to close my shop pretty soon here for probably either the entire month of December or most of the month of December. In this specific moment, I have not decided on a date. However, I'll figure that out just in like the next couple of hours as I'm recording this voiceover. So I'll leave a pinned comment below in the comment section as well as in the description box saying when that actual like specific date that I'm closing my shop is. I know it's going to be either the whole month of December or early December. I'm going to be closing my shop and I'm probably not going to reopen until mid-January. So just a heads up, that's the thing that's happening. I am going to be doing a 25% off sale, so look in the description box or the comment section for the actual coupon code for it. It's just going to be 25% off everything in the store, so that includes stickers, prints, originals, sticky notes, literally everything I have in the store, just a way to like kind of push out stock, hopefully sell some originals just so I can get rid of them, and then prepare for actually reopening my shop in mid-January. I'm going to have all kinds of new products. If all goes well, I'll have acrylic charms, washi tapes, the lanyards I got done, as well as a couple other things. Of course, I'll have like new sticker and print designs as well. So just some stuff that I'm working on, and we'll hopefully have that kind of in the near future. I haven't decided on a date at which I'll be opening my shop. It'll just be closed until further notice, but the main purpose is just to avoid that cursed holiday shipping experience. I really don't want to deal with like packages getting lost or getting like extremely delayed or just like whatever it may be. And also just putting more strain on the postal service during the holiday season is something that I can definitely avoid, so I'm going to avoid it. So that's why I'll be closing my shop just for a little bit, and it'll be nice keeping it closed for an extended period of time just so I don't have to worry about it and I can kind of take a break from my shop, work on like anything I want to change with my shop as far as the actual design layout goes, as well as listing new products, not really having to worry about cramming in listing all products over a short period of time. Because pretty much what I've done with my past shop updates is I've closed for like a day or two at a time, and then in that time frame I've worked on listing all of my new products, getting everything ready to go, and then launching it pretty much as shortly after closing it as I can. So this will be a nice little break for me, a nice little way to like gradually incorporate the new products I want to get made. I haven't placed an order for a lot of the new stuff I want to do. I for sure want to do washi tapes like I mentioned. I want to get a large enough quantity of the acrylic charms so that way I can actually list them on my shop. The ones that I've previously gotten made, I actually only got 5 of each charm, so that is very like not a good quantity to list on my shop. I technically could, but I want to keep at least 2 of each of them for me, so that would be 3 of each design on my shop, which really is like such an unnecessarily minuscule amount that I'm gonna wait until I actually order more, and hopefully that'll be able to arrive mid-January. I really need to work on it and actually place that order soon, so I guess I'll maybe try to work on that later today or something, I don't know. But just a heads up, my shop will be closing. I'll reopen sometime. I'll have specific dates as well as the coupon code in the description box below, because like I said, I haven't 100% decided on it, so I'll figure that out after editing this video. Going back to the actual painting for this piece, I had so much fun working on this piece. Like I mentioned with the last painting I posted, which was also a Genshin painting, I've been playing with inks recently. These are all the Roar and Klinger inks that came with the Haikala box, and they've just been so much fun to work with. It's such an interesting experience compared to watercolors, and everything just looks so different. I've really been having a good time playing with these. It's also really fun because the amount of inks I have right now, it's a pretty limited selection of colors. I think there's like 6 or 7 different shades. But I've actually been having like a super fun time mixing my own colors and not necessarily just like having colors that I'm able to use straight from the bottle, because pretty much with my experience with watercolors, I definitely started off with a pretty limited palette, but the point I'm in right now, I have such a wide variety of different colors in my main watercolor palette that while I do have to mix certain colors, like I'm always mixing skin tones and stuff, but I have a very like preset mindset when it comes to mixing skin colors. I know what colors I need to mix together. I know how much I need to mix together. It's a very standard process for me, but the inks has been a completely different experience, especially because like with the inks, I don't even have a red color, so I've been mixing magenta with yellow and orange and a tiny bit of blue. So it's just been very different, and it's been fun playing around with mixing my own colors. And what I've been doing, especially with inks, because once they go down, they do not lift, I've been using like a separate little sketchbook that I've been keeping on the side as I'm doing these paintings. So when I mix a color, I just do a tiny little swatch on a separate piece of paper, and that way I know what the color actually looks like on paper. So I'm not worrying about like accidentally laying down a mix that is not the color I expected it to be, because that's actually something I used to do, which not really smart. Like when I first started working with inks, I would just mix the color in a little pan, and whatever that color was, I was like, yeah, this is good, and then I'd lay it down, and a lot of times that color was not good. It was actually very wrong, especially with skin tones, because it's kind of hard to know when it's in the little well on your palette what color it actually is compared to when you're laying it down. So I really don't know why I used to do that, but I've evolved. I'm a better person now, and I actually do things in a way that is much more friendly to myself, which is delightful. But I've been having so much fun playing with inks. Like I mentioned in my last video, I definitely want to pick up a larger selection of the Roar and Klinger inks because I've just been having so much fun with them. I don't really know like how much of a different formula they are from the Dr. P.H. Martin's India inks, because long ago, I want to say it was probably like 2 or 3 years ago now. Ooh, maybe more than 3 years. I did pick up one of the sets of the Dr. P.H. Martin's India inks, and I used them for a little bit, and then I just like stopped using them, and I haven't really touched them since. And honestly, I'm not like they're not super appealing to me. I really like the Roar and Klinger ones, and I really don't know if that's just like, oh yeah, an artist I really like uses these, so I'm enjoying using them and not a different brand, or if it's yeah, they have a better formula. I really don't know. I don't know nearly enough about India inks, and I don't have nearly enough of like experience with inks to be able to actually compare them, but I really like the Roar and Klinger ones. Their bottles are also way cuter, and they're a lot more aesthetic and prettier to display, so For the time being, that'll absolutely be my excuse as to why I am favoriting those ones over the other inks that I own. I am super happy with how this piece turned out though. I do like the previous one, I did a little bit more, but I've learned so much throughout this piece and it's so different from my usual art in the sense of like, I'm doing full bodies and multiple characters, and Genshin character designs specifically are so insanely complex. It's just been really fun drawing Genshin characters as a whole and actually doing finished pieces of them, and I've been having so much fun with them. Like, my momentum for art as of right now has definitely slowed down because I have been binge playing Animal Crossing, but I had so much fun working with these inks and doing these ink pieces, and I'm very excited to do more in the future. I'm also a huge fan of how the colored pencils look on top of ink. It's something that I really haven't played around with as much as I should in the past, but I'm really excited to do it more because it just adds another texture onto the piece, which is something that, especially recently, I've really grown to appreciate texture in my artwork, which is something that I absolutely hated in the past. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll leave info about my shop in the description box and in the comment section below, so there'll be a coupon code down there as well as the date I'm actually closing my shop. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.